About Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Indiana, just about 15 or 20 minutes away from downtown Indianapolis. 2.5 miles-ish, 14 corners. So, on the grid, which has been set by an unusual manner, Shea Adam, because we had a bit of a whoopsie this morning and it was significant for a number of reasons. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to Ford fans all around the world. Coming into this weekend's finale, Zach Lee had a sizable advantage, 440 points over second place in the field, which is more points than you can score in a single race event. Unfortunately for Zach, though, on the outlap, he had an off, and it was quite significant, resulting in the lack of that beautiful shiny chrome car not rolling off on the grid right now as they go out on the formation lap. It also meant that we didn't get our 15 minutes of qualifying time. It's a 7-minute guaranteed minimum green flag time. They had about 70 seconds of that session. So the grid has been set based on championship points. Zach Lee not on it, as previously mentioned. And most important for us to remember at the start of this, John, championship positions overall, meaning that Alex Bashura, who starts as the best of the Dark Horse Legends cars, is well up amongst the Dark Horse competitors themselves.
Now, the situation for tomorrow's race will be that the race positions will be set by the fastest laps in this race. So there is an opportunity for some people to improve, shall we say, from what they have already. If you're not au fait with the championship positions, and I accept that as you are tuning in, you may well not be, we'll take a quick look at the provisional starting grid. Zach Lee is listed at the back, but it will not start, as Shea Adam has just mentioned. So that leaves us then with 21 cars to start this race. They'll be in side-by-side formation as they come around. Alfonso Diaz in position 21 on the 11th row. On the 10th, it's Christian Pericarpi for LAP Motorsports, and Chloe Chambers back in the championship for the first time since the first weekend, being announced as a Red Bull Ford Formula One Academy driver for next year. Got an interview with her yesterday. You'll hear that in Midweek Motorsport on Wednesday. Chloe Chambers then back in the championship in the number 3, the Red Bull number 3. Then it's Scott Thompson and Jack Lewis. Stephen Viger and NV Motorsport and Kel Kearns. Story on Stephen's car, which we'll give you when we get some time coming through the race. Then it's Christian Bart and Wesley Slimp, John Strauss and Tom Tate, Nick Smither and Mike Stillwagon, with Alex Bachura on the outside of row number 4. Max Opalski joins him, then Marcus Vento, Reed Sweeney, Jeremy Fletcher, Sam Paley, and on the front row, the Robert Noaker racing pair of Tyler Maxson in the orange and black car and Robert Noaker, who are vying for the championship lead. That's your Ford Performance grid. Stand by for action. 45 minutes on the clock. The green flag is in the air and we are racing. The blue and white car of Robert Noaker then going down towards the first corner. He takes the inside line and blocks a little bit round the outside for the orange and black. That's Tyler the Tiger Maxson, and he slots into second place. That's a pretty decent start as they head through. We're on the infield circuit, of course, so going the wrong way down the start-finish line, and then into turns 5 and 6. This was the area this morning that had the problem on cold tyres for Dark Horse Legends leader Zach. And Zach, we wish you all the best, sir. Has left the circuit for the day at least. We'll give you more news when we hear it, and possibly tomorrow. Good battle going on for position 7 and 8 with Max Opalski. Having a little look there on the in fact, he's gone by the number 18 of Marcus Vento for the JV Racing team. Clean start, Shea, and that's exactly what we wanted to see early on from these 21 cars and drivers.
Really clean start, and particularly for the two cars behind the battle that we were just watching. Alex Bashura and Nick Smither, both still alive for the championship with the Dark Horse Legends, with Zach Lee out. It's all to play for, and a beautiful move as Jeremy Fletcher retakes third position from his now teammate Sam Paley, but Sam fighting him back on the inside. This is going to be side by side going into turn 1.
Jeremy Fletcher in the blue and white car. The more white car with the black roof is Sam Paley as they go across the line in that battle for third place on the podium. We'll keep an eye on that. There's some great stories coming out of the this paddock. I've had the opportunity to have a good wander around, spent over an hour with the teams earlier on this morning here, and everybody's enjoyed this season. Looking forward to this race. Already the chatter has turned to the Circuit de la Sarthe, and next June entries opened yesterday for that, and pretty much everybody I talked to said yes, of course. They want to be there, and why wouldn't they? I had a long chat fight with Zach Lee for this championship, and he says, look, if this is how the championship is decided, it's not the way we wanted to race. That was a corner cut. That was
Tom
a
Tate
huge corner cut at the turn 10 exit, and he said, we don't want to win the championship like that. We've enjoyed battling against Zach, and we wish him well. And already Sparky's got 2 entries in for Le Mans next year, so we wait to see how that entry list develops, and we're waiting to find out the final round of next year's championship as well. All will be revealed, we're told, with a bit of luck and a fair win tomorrow night at the celebration of 2024 and the inaugural Mustang Challenge season. At the front of the field, Robert Nowick sets the fastest lap in his challenge for the championship with his teammate Tyler Max, and now 1.2 seconds behind him. Alex Bachura needs every point he can get here today, and he's taken the point at the moment for fastest lap. Great battle going on between Tom Tate in that green and red. Earlier on, he's having a scrap with Mike Stillwagon. Mike Stillwagon still share in with an outside chance of that Dark Horse Legends Championship.
Yeah, Stillwagon is only 10 points behind the guy who is in second place, Alex Bashura, so that battle very much alive as Scott Thompson just goes for a little bit of a spin. But watching the battling further down in the field, one car has my attention. Christian Pericarpi coming into the championship this weekend. Christian's a guy who's done a lot of touring car racing and a lot less power than these Ford Mustangs put out. He's not used to a 500 horsepower V8 engine in front of him. But I saw Christian at the IMSA weekend at Indianapolis, and he was in a knee brace. He had injured himself slightly, and he was hopping around a little bit. So for him to be muscling that beautiful 37 machine in the way that he has been, I'm very impressed, and it's going to be a long 40 minutes to go for him, but let's see how far up he can get.
Still 40 minutes, as Shea rightly said, to go. Another fastest lap by Robert Nowick, making the best of the performance on his Michelin tyres. That gap now 1.8 seconds as the field streams through onto the infield. Beautiful day here, by the way. Little chilly overnight here, and that may well have contributed to Zachary Lee's issue this morning. It was 40 Fahrenheit this morning, which is what 6 or 7 degrees Celsius, and there was a little bit of dew on the circuit as well. It was his outlap when he put the car soundly into the wall at turn 6, and he pretty much admitted it was his issue. Car tyres weren't warm. These things can bite it. Reed Sweeney making up a position there in the black and gold car as he heads through the infield section of the racetrack here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Shay.
I think Sam Paley has some kind of an issue, John, because he was right on the tail of Jeremy Fletcher, and then he started dropping back like crazy as, Christian Pericarpi gets spun around by Tom Tate. It allows Wesley Slimp to get through, too. Good job by everyone avoiding that contact, but those are two cars from two different classes. Really unfortunate to see that incident. Out front, it is still Robert Noaker leading the way. He's got the championship advantage, 70 points coming into today's race above his teammate Tyler Maxson, who runs in the Tiger livery car, hence the nickname Tyler the Tiger. And now that's Opalski who's having a look at the back of Sam Paley. Paley's car is not 100%.
Yeah, and Sam will always give his best and try and fight his way through. One or two people leaning on their cars quite hard there. Christian Bach ahead of Mike Stillwagon. Alex Bachura doing what he needs to do. He can't take the lead in Dark Horse Legends today. Zachary Lee had amassed a huge buffer, if you will, a cushion, having been unbeaten since the second round of the season second race of the season at Mid-Ohio, and basically Zach could have tied up the championship today had he been on the track. So a very costly mistake this morning to the championship leader in the Dark Horse category, the car in the truck. And that car will take no further part. There are a couple of cars that could be pressed into service this weekend. I suppose we'll find out tomorrow if Zach feels he's well enough to come back and race. So, at the front of the field, Robert Noaker leads out. That Dark Horse Legends battle then between the top three in the championship. Alex Bachura, Mike Stillwagon and Nick Smithers still in with an opportunity. So that is the battle we're going to have to keep an eye on in terms of the point scoring. Shea is doing the arithmetic as always.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Well, as we try.
Shall we talk about what the points are
battles coming across the line?
Fighting for, John?
Yes, indeed.
Because with this being the final weekend of the championship, we have championship prizes to give out. The winner in the Dark Horse category gets $100,000 towards a GT3 or a GT4 seat, a test in a GT4 Ford, and a one event tire Michelin credit. Or, if you don't want that, you can have $40,000 cash and the GT4 credit, as well as the Michelin tire credit. Second place gets a check for 20 grand, and third gets a check for 10 grand. In the Dark Horse Legends category, you walk away with a $20,000 prize or a GT4 test. So there is a lot on the line for the drivers this weekend.
Shea Adam with me, John Hindhaugh in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. Sam Paley still fighting a rearguard action to the green and black Maxus Opalski car, just coming past me on the right hand side. These cars, by the way, we're doing our best to bring you the atmosphere as Jeremy Fletcher's now under pressure from Reed Sweeney going down into turn one. Jeremy in the blue and white car. We're doing our best to bring you the atmosphere and the excitement here, but I have to say that we cannot adequately represent how brilliant these cars sound down the front straight, going the wrong way across the yard of bricks. Just as I say, to my right hand side and into turn one, it is incredible what the noise is coming from these V8s. Reed Sweeney looking down the inside again at turn 7, but drops back in behind Jeremy Fletcher. This is the battle for third position we're talking about here. Robert Noaker now 3.7 seconds ahead of his teammate Tyler Maxson in the battle for the Dark Horse Championship, and then this battle in third position. Jeremy Fletcher then holding them off at the moment. Got to keep an eye on those lap times as well, because the lap time set here will set the grid for race number 2. So those people perhaps who haven't done so well in the championship up until now do have the opportunity to move up the grid for tomorrow's race, which is starting about 50 minutes later than today. Leader across the line, Robert Noecker, on his completing his 7th lap with 33.5 minutes still to go. Now in the Dark Horse Legends, which are the cars with the blue number backgrounds and the blue shade bands, that's Alex Matura doing exactly what he needs to do. Inside the top 10 doesn't matter. He's ahead of Mike Stillwagon in second, who is second in that championship. There are only 10 points between Matura and Stillwagon. Nick Smither is another 160 points further back, but he's actually dropped now behind Tom Tate in that MDK Motorsport car that we saw earlier on. And there is the championship battle for DHL with those cars, Dark Horse Legends. So the first of 2 races this weekend, still with more than half an hour to go. And Jeremy Fletcher still under pressure for 3rd position. Quite a number of the drivers that I spoke to and the teams have said we feel like we haven't had the consistency that we were looking for this season. New car, new championship, and the overall atmosphere in the paddock very positive indeed. This 3rd place blue and white number 22 car of Jeremy Fletcher holds on to that position under extreme pressure now from Reid Sweeney and Robert Noecker Racing. Robert Noecker Racing with 3 of the top 4 at the moment, 1st, 2nd and 4th. What a run they're having. Just to note as well, I've been talking to some of the crew chiefs as well about running the cars, and all of them saying that they have been very impressed indeed at how the cars are to work with, and also the amount of stock parts that are on these cars makes it very easy to service the cars. And what Ford have done is sort of bucking the trend in some respects of single model racing in the last few years, where there's been a bit of an arms race for, let's have faster, let's have more tuned, let's have bigger wings and more aero and bigger wheels and more tricks and chintzy bits on the car. And Ford, with the Mustang Challenge for 2024, basically said, let's go back to basics and let's take what we believe is an outstanding road car, as Alex Bashura in the olive number 33, leading in Dark Horse Legends, coming to the end of his lap. Let's take we believe is a very good road car and do enough to make it a very good race car. And by enough, they seal the engine and the gearbox and the rear axle. So that's all absolutely street stock 500 horsepower V8 6-speed manual stick shift transmission with 3 pedals on the floor and the standard differential from the street car, as Alex Bashura under pressure at the moment, but does not need to be silly here because Christian Bach behind him is not in his class. The challenge would be 2 cars further back, Mike Stillwagon in the number 19 Skip Barber red, white and black car, which he's not in the picture just at the moment. So the crew chief saying that's great, the drivers all saying that's great because it keeps the costs down. And what we've got is a very capable, very safe racing car which has a bit of an old school feel to it and makes the driving the determinant force. Most of the teams coming with a standard setup to each of the racetracks and then just refining the DSSV Multimatic suspension. They've got a couple of spring options that they can use as well. But the aero is fixed and comes straight from the Dark Horse road car. and had a good look around the cars today and spoken to so many people, and they're very excited about next year's opportunities, particularly going to the Circuit de la Sarthe and Le Mans for the 24 hours, where there will be the main support. Let's check back in with Shea Adam, who's keeping an eye on the mathematics at the moment as this battle for third position. Shea heating up down to turn one. It looks like Reid Sweeney has got that one done this time through.
Yeah, Reid definitely fighting very hard with Jeremy Fletcher. It's hard to believe that Reid's only gotten one podium finish so far this entire year in the second race at Watkins Glen, especially considering the strength that we've seen all year from Robert Noaker Racing. Those cars now running first, second, and third on the track, but our leader is gone. He's 12 seconds ahead.
Robert Noaker, 4.5 seconds to the good on the rest of the field as it stands. And now Reid Sweeney has to try and chase down Tyler Maxson for third position. .135.0 for Robert Noaker, the best time so far. Oh, that's a big lunge down into turn 12. See some action earlier on as the number 36 goes through. Nice overtaking manoeuvre. That was a few moments ago. Now down towards the first corner. Oh, and a little puff of smoke from Reid Sweeney's car as Max Opalski has joined in with that now 3-car battle for third position, Shea.
And Max Opalski is a driver who's still looking for his first podium finish of the year, his best finish of 5th, which he's achieved twice. It hasn't been the year that Max Opalski hoped it would be, running under his own banner for most of the season, finally teaming up with a bigger organization that should give him more data, more telemetry to go off of. But he's got a bit of front-end damage to his Mustang, doesn't he, John? Just like maybe he's nudged the back of another car ever so gently.
Well, the evidence is there, and it looks like there's been a slight front-to-rear contact as they come through. Again, Noaker well in command here. Bachura doing what he has to do. Mike Stillwagon is in second in the Legends. Nick Smither, Shea Adam, has lost a couple of positions. Started in third because that's his championship position in the blue background number cars. He's dropped down now to 5th behind not only Tom Tate but also Alfonso Diaz. What a run this is from Alfonso Diaz. He started dead last on the field in 21st position. Now at the 15th.
Really impressed. I'm really impressed with Alfonso Diaz, particularly given that he's run this season in a different one-make championship, again, with a lot less power, a very different style of car. So for him to be adapting to this, like the proverbial duck to water, it's been a very impressive debut so far with that fast lap as well. That's 10 bonus points that Alex Bachura and Mike Stillwagon aren't able to steal away. But also just a quick shout out from Mike Stillwagon, not only with what he's been able to do in the race today, holding on to that second position in the class, what he's been able to do this year. We showed up at Mid-Ohio, and he didn't have a race car. The Skip Barber Racing program working really hard to acquire a car. He ran that first weekend in an all-white Ford Mustang, and now the car with some beautiful orange and blue accents on it as well. He's driven it up to a P3 in the championship with a legitimate shot at P2 as well.
Also, must make mention of the new for 2025 Red Bull Ford F1 Academy driver, Chloe Chambers. Still got a couple of rounds to go this year, of course. She has fired the Spark Performance Mustang number 3 up in the Red Bull colours. She's up to 12th position. And, of course, she started well down as well because she's only had the one appearance this year. So that was up from 19th position in the championship. And, problem for Jeremy Fletcher, who took the cutout there at turn 8 and 9. And that was very odd indeed. I thought you would do that if you'd had a problem, but it appears he's just carried on. But that was an odd one, Shea.
I think Jeremy just realized that he missed his braking point and dove out early to make it so that he wouldn't collect any of the other cars, particularly Reed Sweeney in front of him, or check up anything behind him with Max Sapolsky. So to me, that was very heads up, a good awareness of the car and the handling. And for Fletcher to do that and then pull over and let Sweeney go through, very, very smart driving. We've seen a lot of that this year from Jeremy in all forms of what he's been doing, John, not just the Mustang Challenge, but it's really been fun to watch his development come along in these cars throughout the course of the year.
Yeah, and I think, talking to the drivers, I think he might have missed a gear, actually, on the downshift, because you can miss gears because it's a stick shift. This is a manual gearbox car, bucking the trend for paddles and assisted gear change. There is a automated rev match system, which is the street car system. And I've talked to a couple of the pro drivers who've been testing these cars, and they say it's one of the best they've used. So you can heel and tow, but you don't have to, or you can use the rev match to help you with the downshifts. And as I say, a couple of the pro drivers who tested these cars earlier in the season, as we've had a little grass cutting moment for Mike Stillwagon just after Shea was building him up in the blue and orange number 19.
Apologies, Mike. Curse the commentator.
Yeah, Skip Barber racing car. Yeah, not the red, white and black colours for that car this weekend. Yeah, they're all saying that downshift rev match is superb, and that comes straight from the Dark Horse street car. Let's find out what happened with Mike. This is turn 8 and 9 again, and yeah, just 7 and 8 rather, and that has just again run onto the grass. The bits that Ford have added, if you will, the race bits that they've added in, like the Bosch ABS module, anti-lock braking system module, like the Brembo brakes, like the very, very impressive DSSV Multimatic damper system. Those are tried, tested and proven race parts, and they haven't skimped on that, and that I think is the balance that they've had to tread, and they've done a really good job according to what the teams were telling me earlier on before the lunch break here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The guys at the build shop, they are targeting over 50 more of these cars to be built before the start of next season, because of course we've got the Mustang Challenger Cup as well to pad the opportunities for drivers to get behind the wheel of these cars, and they're exactly the same specification. Really expecting to have somewhere above 50 cars at Le Mans, possibly even over 60. And if that is the case, my goodness, we will be bringing the thunder to Le Mans 24 hours, because the start-finish line there, almost enclosed by grandstands either side, the reverb on that V8 Coyote motor is going to sound absolutely brilliant. Well, we're down into the last 20 minutes now. Shea Adam and Robert Nohicker making his bid for the championship here, doing exactly what he needs to do up front. See above comment for Alex Batura, but unfortunately trying to get into the pit lane. This is a very slow run to pit lane indeed, but it's off the track for Wesley Slimp and the Precision Performance Motorsport. So we'll stay green here, Shea.
Yes, we will, and he'll be blocking the pit in, but that's not a problem because we don't have pit stops in these sprint races. So for Wesley Slimp, very good safe space for him to pull off into, and yes, it'll be frustrating that he's so close to getting back to his box and back to his crew members and perhaps even a bottle of water. But for Robert Nohicker, who is now dealing with even more lap traffic, it's all eyes forward and to try and maintain the championship lead, if not extend it, which is what he's doing right now. If positions were to stay the same, and I'm not going to say that they will because, well, we call it racing, not trophy handing out, Robert Nohicker would have, let me think, 100 points going into tomorrow's race over his teammate, Tyler Maxson. That's not enough to seal the championship if both cars start. So it would still be Robert Noaker's race that he would have to throw away in terms of the championship not going his way. But stranger things have happened. See what happened in qualifying today to Zach Lee.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And there are some very unforgiving places here. Battle for third position coming through to go past John Strauss, I think that is, for the Capaldi racing car. Yes, it is, as they put a lap on the number 14. Nicely Slim did make it into the pit lane, and with an unspecified problem at the moment. So last 20 minutes, we'll start picking off the battles for you as we get into the important laps. Sam Paley has picked up his pace just a little bit as well, and he, at the moment, in that Sam Paley Motorsport machine, sitting in 7th position. Where he would have expected or wanted to be, Shay, to be absolutely honest. Got to tell the story. Actually, we'll wait on that for just a little bit. I was going to say we've got a couple of good stories to tell, but I want to do that when we do our Ford Performance featured teams and cars.
I'm a little concerned about the pace from Mike Stillwagon, John. Just looking at his lap times, he's about 2 seconds off of the cars behind him chasing in. And both Alfonso Diaz and Tom Tate have closed the gap significantly, to the point now where the rearview mirrors of Stillwagon are filled and they are 4 position second. Looks like it's going to be lost by Stillwagon if he can't find a little bit more speed.
Yeah, and that does not help his championship charge. He was only 10 points behind Alex Ventura coming in into this championship deciding weekend for Dark Horse Legends. We're going to come down to tomorrow's race in both of the championships.
Yes.
As it stands. And as we mentioned before, Zach Lee will still be leading the championship as Max Sapolsky is on the inside of the circuit, trying to hold on to his 5th position for Marcus Vento, Sam Paley, Alex Bashura, 24 seconds further back. Alex under pressure still from Christian Bach, but Christian hasn't got back through. As Tom Tate now having to defend in the MDK Motorsports multicoloured car. He sits in behind the Skip Barber racing car of Mike Stillwagon, and that is the 3-car battle that Shea was talking about. The green and orange car, which I think is going to lose a position here, is Tom Tate, and Alfonso Diaz continues. He's charged up the field in the all-white Mustang.
Yeah, he's a guy who's been racing since 1991, John, so he's got a lot of experience under his belt, but I am very impressed from what we're seeing. He and the Ford Mustang just really get along well. This has been a fun performance. It's not often we get a newbie that comes into a championship and makes a splash like this. Really hope Alfonso runs a full season next year.
Well, I think this is one of those type of cars where when you drive it, you want to drive it as much as possible. And I'm just going to put this out there right now. These cars have got a fuel tank that is good enough for about an hour and 10, an hour and 15. That's an audacious maneuver. Oh, and there was a touch. I was just about to say an audacious maneuver about to be pulled off there. But there was a little bit of touch. Around the outside of turn 14, Shea, always very, very difficult to do. I think that was Scott Thompson on Kel Kearns, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there was just a little side-by-side contact. But we know these cars are built Ford proud, but they're built Ford tough as well. And we've seen them take a little bit of pounding.
Yeah, and that was a very stout hit, as effectively the beautiful classic colored car got sandwiched into the wall by the beautiful blue colored colored car, the lighter blue colored car, darker blue. And just one of those moments that perhaps Kel didn't realize that Scott was trying to make the pass around the outside because he wasn't quite there when they came off the corner. But the good news is both cars were able to continue on, as Stillwagon is now going to be passed by Diaz for the second position. No, he manages to defend going into turn 7. So Diaz going to have to take another shot. Perhaps by the time they get to turn 12, he'll have had a better run through. It looks like Diaz has a lot of pace in his Ford Mustang. Maybe he's done a good job saving the Michelin tires as well.
Very, very unofficially as well. He's done a 39.6. That's his best lap, but he's had to come through traffic. Chloe Chambers has done a 38.6, and that is going to put her well up the grid for tomorrow. Championship points were the determinant for the starting grid here today, but of course we have the opportunity to set the grid for tomorrow from your fastest lap here. Had a quick chat with Chloe yesterday, which you'll be able to hear on Midweek Motorsport next Wednesday on RS1, about her Red Bull 4 Performance F1 Academy drive, Red Bull Ford F1 Academy drive, and she was also telling me that she enjoys driving anything, so she's not going to have a big off-season. She'll drive anything that people give her the opportunity, and she's enjoyed driving these very powerful 500 horsepower Mustangs with the stick shift. No stranger to a stick shift, and you can hear more about that on Wednesday. It's a good story, actually. I don't want to spoil it, but she was also saying, so am I going to have to start way back down the grid again in 19th position? And so we were having a little chat, and I said, no, you're just going to have 2 great races where you have to fight your way through, but if you get a good lap time, you'll start further up. And she's got a very good lap time at the moment, sitting in the Spark Performance car in 10th position. But I reckon that she, at the moment, is going to be probably
8th or 9th.
Yeah, well inside the top 10. Well, inside the top 10, I would say. Certainly top 5 rows. And if she can repeat the performance she's had here, she could be a podium contender in the race tomorrow.
Oh, for sure, but it would take a lot of misfortune from the Robert Noaker racing cars. Those 3 have a solid handle on the race today, as Tom Tate manages to get around Mike Stillwagon, and that Stillwagon off the podium at this stage. Alfonso Diaz, having been released, has reset the fastest lap time of the class with a 1:37.375. Very good lap time from the Dark Horse Legends runner. And we should say, by the way, all the cars are the same. It's just the driver's age that makes the difference. Those with a little bit more life experience are the Legends, so a bit like a Jedi Master. And Tom Tate having to defend pretty hard from Stillwagon. Stillwagon's not giving up the fight yet. I love to see it.
Yeah, 37.2 actually the best lap for Chloe Chambers, 37.3 for Alfonso Diaz. That'll put him on pole position. Started dead last today, put him on pole position for the Dark Horse Legend category tomorrow. So how about that for Tom Tate? Does not like staying on the track at turn 5 and 6. Second time he's been inside the blue, white and black curbing here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The race control officials will be keeping a close eye on that. Just finishing off my thought, 30 gallon fuel tank, these cars will run over an hour. I'm just throwing it out there. How about a multi-driver enduro with these cars at some stage in the future? Maybe not next year. The opportunity for these cars with the Brembo brakes, the crew chiefs were salivating at the thought of that as we were having a wee chat earlier on today. Plenty of opportunity for these cars going forward. But Shea, what a first season we've seen. Ford doing a great job to get everybody their cars before we went racing at Mid-Ohio. And the team's doing a great job to get all those cars to the grid. Some of them got them very, very late. What a shame. Come back to that in a moment. There's been an off-track incident for...
That's Scott Thompson, who got sandwiched into the outside wall.
Now he was on his own coming to turn 4, trailing the brakes in there, and I think he's just looped it, getting on and trying to release that 500 horsepower a tiny little bit early. And that was Diaz going through to put a lap on him. Well, coming down to the last 10 minutes of the race, and at the front of the field, as Cloyd Chambers looks to make up another position, that's Alex Batura ahead. Now, Alex has got to be smart here, because as they come into turn 12, Cloyd is not in his class. They are fighting for different things, and Batura needs to maximise points today to close the gap on the absent Zach Lee. Zach will still lead the championship here. He had a 470-point cushion coming into today's race, and that can't be overhauled today. Chambers was right up on the rear bumper of that car. 8.5 to go. Let's have a look at the Ford Performance Team update, where we have a look at a number of cars. Now, we're looking at what looks like two different teams there. Macumbi McAleer Racing with their two cars, the 48 and 22 cars, and the 10 NV Autosport. Well, Gradient and Macumbi McAleer run that number 10 car. I'll come to that in a moment. The big story is the 48. It's got a 0 next to it because it didn't start the race. That car is being totaled for Zach Lee, who is our Dark Horse Legends leader. Jeremy Fletcher holds on to 4th position in Dark Horse in the blue and white number 22. The NV Autosport car, Stephen Weischert's car, is a subject of a wonderful piece of storytelling. The trailer with the car in it was stolen earlier this week, and the thieves took the car out of the trailer to sample some of the Ford Performance, and they were both found. The trailer is still effectively a crime scene being processed by police. They released the racing car and it got here ready to go. I was joking to the team, and thank you to the team for having a chat with me, and to Stephen. It should have had police line do not cross around that car all today, and the car was re-prepped and out qualifying yesterday, and Stephen doing a cracking job, 6th in the Legends. He's had an up and down season, but he's loving it. He said, yes, I'm back next year, yes, I'm going to Le Mans, and so that in focus, the Macumbi McAleer Racing and Gradient NV Autosport cars on our Ford Performance Team update for this race. We'll look at another couple of teams in tomorrow's race for that Ford Performance Team update. 6.5 to go, Shea, with now just 2.9 seconds between Tyler the Tiger Maxson and Robert Noaker. Top 3 all R&R. Robert Noaker Racing. Now, has Tyler got enough time to start pulling back his team chief and teammate? He may just have timed this a little bit better in terms of the performance that's left in his Michelin tyre, Shea.
He might have. The last lap around, he pulled back a half a second on the leader, Robert Noaker. And Noaker, for having the championship lead, has established that through consistency. Only one finish off of the podium, and the 2 wins coming in the first race of the season and then the most recent race of the season. So Robert Noaker really wants to assert this championship domination by winning more than just 2 races. He'd like to win another 2 this weekend. But for Tyler the Tiger, it's been a bit more up and down and a bit more of a struggle. So for him, he'd really like to end this season with 2 more wins, taking half the victories of the calendar year. Let's see if the Tiger can get up there. 5 minutes to go. Oh, it's going to be tight. But watching their sector times, Tyler Maxson is on it right now. He is giving it full beans.
That could be 4 laps, Shea. Depends when the leader crosses the line. So half a second and 4 laps, that's 2 seconds. He'd be within sight of the back of Noaker. If he was half a second away going, into the last few corners, that's within striking distance. I suspect I know there's no team orders for Robert Noaker Racing, but of course they will want to get all their cars to the end of the race. Alfonso Diaz, Tech Sport Racing, the white Mustang, from the back to 2nd in class and 11th overall. One of the biggest movers, along with Cloyd Chambers, who came from 19th position and is now sitting in 10th position. She hasn't quite managed to make that pass on Alex Bachura, who's speeded up a little bit actually, and now has a 1 second lead, still leads the Dark Horse Legends category. Keep an eye on that gap between first and second. The number 13 Robert Nowick car and his team car, the number 74. That one's easy to pass. A little bit of a schmozzle going through the chicane, the second of the chicanes. Here comes Alfonso trying to pick his way through there.
Nope, the battle for the lead is not going to change because Tyler Maxson grew larger in Robert Noacre's mirrors. Robert saw the Calvin named car, thus for Calvin and Hobbs, and picked up the pace quite a bit. So now the gap has been extended again as he took 3/10 back out. So Robert Noacre's lead is safe for now as we have 3 minutes and 50 seconds until the checkered flag.
What we've got to keep an eye on, I think, now, Shea, then, where time can be gained and lost for the leaders, and Robert Nowick must be looking at this. He and his team will be looking at the traffic and where he is likely to come across it, because that right now could be the difference for Robert Nowick, the number 13 car, coming onto the front straight and crossing the line ahead with under on 3 minutes, should I say, still to go. He's got 2 or 3 cars that are battling for position in the Legends class, so he's going to have to be careful as he comes through there. Managing the gap is fine. What he can't afford is to end up off the circuit, because that could cost him the lead of this race.
Max Opalski's pace has dropped off too, John, as Sam Paley closes back in on him. Opalski doing 38.2 the last time around, Paley 37.8. So it doesn't sound like much, but that is the battle for 5th position, and every championship point makes a difference at the end of the year. Remember, 3rd place is a really good prize still with 10 grand on the line, and right now 3rd place is going to Sam Paley, but Jeremy Fletcher is within striking distance of that.
Yeah, Jeremy, another one of the Robert Nowick racing cars. I'm sorry, no, he's not. Absolutely isn't.
MMR?
At all. He's one of the MMR cars, which we've just been talking about. And when we talk about the end of the season is tomorrow afternoon. We'll just about be starting the race at this time tomorrow. So set yourself an alarm, because the end of the championship is nigh. And 45 minutes will be starting right about now tomorrow. We'll have it live for you across the 4 Performance global channels, YouTube, IMSA.tv, and of course if you're travelling around, IMSA Radio has the audio for you as well on the player at RS2. We don't want your eyes off the road, but you can have exactly the same audio. And as far as the celebration's concerned, that's tomorrow night here in Indianapolis. Ford throwing the celebration of the championship and its inaugural season, and we'll be at that and talking to all of the champions, both of the champions and some of the principals as well. Again, that's content you'll be able to hear exclusively on Midweek Motorsport next Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock UK, and we'll be building up to Petit Le Mans.
Battle for the lead is on. Noacre got a lot of traffic in Sector 1, John. Tyler Maxson is all over him. There's less than a second between them.
And we're on the final 2.5 miles of the penultimate race of the championship, as Opalski is having his battle continuing. But it is absolutely on at the front of the field. 2 cars between first and second. Robert Noacre then, as Tyler the Tiger has to come through, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be enough. Oh, this is absolutely tantalising. And Noacre now has no cover. Noacre has his teammate right behind him, the blue and white number 13, with cars ahead of him that are battling for position. They're going on to their last lap. They're coming to the checkered flag. Here's the leader, comes alongside, round the outside for Tyler the Tiger. Then he cuts to the pit wall. This is going to be super tight. It's a full wide finish. I think Tyler's got it. Maxson's got it. That is incredible. That is incredible. 2-lapped cars in the mix. Jack Lewis and John Strauss were unwitting participants there in the battle for the lead. Oh my goodness me. under a tenth of a second, 0.059 of a second, and Tyler Maxson takes that. Shay's doing the arithmetic as we watch the Dark Horse Legends driver and leader, soon to become winner, Alex Bashura, just
First
in
win of
10th
the
position.
year for Bashura. Hard to believe that too.
Spark Performance in 9th and 10th, and Chloe Chambers has gone through to make up. That's 10 positions made for Chloe Chambers, and 10 positions also for Alfonso Diaz. They're the biggest movers in the Mustang Challenge. Extraordinary finish. It looked like something out of a fictitious movie. You just don't get that, except you do. And that is the caliber of racing that we've built up to this season. Out of the final corner towards the yard of bricks, and Alex Bashura takes his first Ford Mustang Challenge win of the season and closes the gap to the absent Zachary Lee and gives himself the best opportunity. Alfonso Diaz took the fastest lap in Legends, fastest lap in the Dark Horse category, went to Robert Noacker, who was pipped on the line by that tiny margin, but it is an RNR lockout, Shea Adam, on the podium, and the top two positions changing right at the end. You said it, that traffic might play a part, and it absolutely did. Frustration, I think. I have to say, when Tyler Maxson went to the high side, I thought he picked the wrong horse there, and he immediately chopped back to the pit wall. Very fair driving by Robert Noacker, and it was the Mustang's nostrils perhaps, that only just, I mean, try and stop you. Get on your smartphone now. Try and stop your stopwatch at 0.059, and that was the gap. And Tyler the Tiger then takes the maximum points with Robert Noacker in second, but taking the bonus for second position. No points given for pole position today because it wasn't earned. Absolutely extraordinary, with Reed Sweeney in a rather lonely third position, making it a podium sweep in Dark Horse category for the Robert Noacker cars. Wow, that was absolutely stunning stuff, and this Mustang Racing, Mustang Challenge Racing, brought to you by Ford. Ford Mustang Challenge Racing, brought to you by Ford. Built Ford proud. Built Ford very close indeed, and built Ford exciting. And wow, don't take my blood pressure right now. Let's take a look at the results as Shea has the points. Max and Noacker, Sweeney we've mentioned. Max Opalski just off the podium in fourth position from Sam Paley, who seemed to have a problem mid-race but fought back. Jeremy Fletcher was on the podium earlier on, dropped back to sixth. Marcus Vento, Christian Bach, Chloe Chambers with a 10-place gain inside the top 10. Alex Bashura winning Dark Horse Legends, so important for his championship challenge, ahead of Alfonso Diaz, another 10-place mover from his grid starting point. Christian Pericarpi, the last of the Dark Horse winners then. Stillwagon, Mike Stillwagon came back actually and scored points, got back ahead of Tom Tate later on in the race. Let's have a quick look at the points, unofficial at the moment. Shea Adam has done the arithmetic.
Tyler Maxson, take a bow, you beauty. 50 points behind our leader, Robert Noacker, now going into tomorrow's race. In third, it is still Sam Paley, but way far back off of this lead. And 60 points behind Paley is Jeremy Fletcher, so the battle is still on for that third and final championship position. In the Dark Horse Legends category, congratulations, first win to Alex Bashura. So happy for the man from Texas, as he now is 90 points behind Zachary Lee for the Legends Championship. In third, it is still Mike Stillwagon, but now instead of being 10 points back, he is 60 points off the lead. In fourth is still Nick Smither, but after a good race today, Tom Tate climbed back a little bit of position to get closer to fourth in the championship.
Well, we saw drama this morning in qualifying, even before we got to the green flag, with Dark Horse Legends leader Zachary Lee and his number 48 Macumbi Macaleer Racing in the wall. And that has really closed things up in the Legends category. The two Robert Noack, protagonists for Dark Horse, finished first and second. Tyler Maxim with a narrow lead. This time tomorrow we'll be starting the final race of the Mustang Challenge 24 season. For Shea, I'm John Hindhaugh. Bye-bye.